starting first and fourth in this superheat. Remember, there are 25 championship points up for grabs at the end of the 2 superheats that you will see today, so we still will yet to find out who will get those. Carts fire up then. Let's take you through the starting lineup then for Superheat A for the OKJ category. Tibor Ramikas and Christian Kostoya starting it on the front row with Lewis Werrell and Alexander Bondarev on row number 2. Artin Kraling and Vivek Kanthan, both of them yesterday had a very interesting day, but Kanthan getting a penalty in his last race of the day, finishing in P19. Andy Consani and Filippo Sala, they go from row 4 with Noah Montero and Nicholas Schaufler, who had several accidents over the course of yesterday. Thankfully, he is okay, and he starts on the 10th spot of the grid. Matez Orjuela and Tame Soleil, they go from row 6 with Kian Farden and Alexander Chartier on row 7. Kira Batig, who was fastest in morning warm-up today, starts this one on the 8th row with Yoel Apocola alongside. Phil Titiev and Tiziano Monza, they round out row 9 with Roman Kamyav and Elliot Kaczynski on row 10. David Kozma and Zhang Jose going from row 11. Vladimir Ivanivkov and Mies Huben round out row number 12 with Louis Castellini and Daniel Kelleher on row 13. FM Duranov and Kosei Aguma on row 14 with Alpak Soy and Gabriel Kerniken on row 15 rounding out the top 20. Georgi Zazov and Jenic Peschel go from row 16 with Theodore Bergson, Kara Verhand, Marie Barryberg and Meryl Peldis rounding out the 36 kart grid, the biggest grid that we've got so far this weekend. And of course, they will be whittled down to just one group of 36 drivers for the final. Plenty of action to come up. Guillaume Alvarez back in the commentary box. Looking forward to this one. Our top 2 in the championship are in this race.
It's going to be a fantastic one. The first of the 2 most decisive races of the season in the junior category. Can Tibor Ramikas make it 2 in a row after the superheat lead, the victory in the superheat? And we go around one more time, an extra formation lap. So Tibor Ramikas, the Belgian sensation, there was a P2 in the championship as it stands, close on points with Alexander Bondarev, who's starting just behind from the outside of row number 2. Lewis Werrell is the third man, no longer in contention in terms of points when it comes to the European Championship, unless a big disaster would happen twice for the superheat and the final. Let's see about that, but keep in mind that Tibor Ramikas, after leading the qualifying heat, is picking up 25 championship points compared to Alexander Bondarev, which puts him, of course, in a strong second place in the overall classification in the junior category so far. But Bondarev is still very much your leader overall this season, but is going to do everything that he has in his pocket to protect what could be his first European Championship. When it comes to the classification of this weekend, Ramikas is very much in the lead for just 3 tiny points in front of Langendonk, Kostoya being the third man from Martinez, and Werrell in the top 5. This classification, of course, will be decisive after the 2 superheat for the starting grid order for the final. So stay with us. Sometimes it can be a little bit complicated to get all the information together, but that's what we're here for, to clear your mind. Here we go again. Second attempt.
Into the tram lines. Lights this time do go out. Great start from the inside row. Ramikas, Werrell and Kraling diving to the inside, but on the outside there, Christian Kostoya trying to hold on to it, and he does tuck into about 4th, 5th place. He'll have to be careful on the exit here. He doesn't get squeezed onto the grass. He's okay, and he slots in now to P5. 2 of the DPKs in the background there, Nicholas Schaufler being one of them, going wheel to wheel with their teammates as they go through. I think it was Chiara Batig who was going wheel to wheel with, but down in towards turn number 8 they go, and Ramikas has a commanding lead already as they go through turn number 8 in towards turn 9. Werrell there in second place, very, very close though, as he's battling fiercely for that position. As down the inside, Alexander Bondarev gets that move done and goes up into 3rd place. He's closing in on his championship rival.
That's what they needed to do. The opening lap, of course, was decisive for Alexander Bondarev, as just for the back of 253, making his move as well. Andy Kansani on the Vivek Kahan. Same chassis, different teams, running inside turn to turn number 1. That was a close call with the 243. Noah Montero trying to make his speed as well. Is forced just behind. We're back with the lead. 4P2. Bondarev keeps on going and takes Lewis Werrell in turn number 5. Battles happening plenty in the start of that superheat. This is on the last day of the European season for the junior competitors, and Bondarev, you could see him gesturing to Werrell. Stay with me, let's not fight this one just yet, because Tibor Ramikas is in the lead, extending up to 0.4 of a second. This is the Belgian driver's strongest strongest asset, certainly. This is his skills. Once he's in the lead, and I was going to say that, but he actually sees the lead stolen from him, and the door is open, and he's losing not only the lead, but the top 3 result with Bondarev, Werrell, and Kraling making their way through.
This is exactly what Alexander Bondarev wanted to do in this superheat. He wanted to rattle Thibaut Ramicus. He wanted to push him down the order, and he's done just that. He leads the way now, and this will certainly help out his intermediate classifications, but Ramicus would still technically lead the intermediate classifications and would technically still get the 25 championship points at the end of the second superheat. Remember, that one determines who actually gets those 25 championship points. But for this one, Ramicus is doing what he needs to do. He just needs to get back up to that top end. But Bondarev leading the way. He is hungry to defend his championship lead.
And this is already an appetizer. Very tasty one for the final to come this afternoon. These are the protagonists that we expect to do a battle as well. But as we've seen yesterday in his last qualifying heat in the OK class, Ronnie Lammers, the championship leader, was a little bit in trouble, similar to Ramicus in the opening stages of the race. Stumbled down the order to P5. He kept his head down and started his recovery. Ramicus needs to do that. Watch out for the move on the inside for Cansani. That was a close call, and Ramicus is losing another place to Andrea Cansani, making his way through. And I think that Christian Costoya was close to do the same. The Belgian driver now in a bit of a trouble as Lewis Werrell being chased by Kraling up into P3. The Car Republic machines are really back into contention as Bondarev is extending his lead. By the look of it, Kraling is being stuck a little bit behind Lewis Werrell on a different pace, the British driver. But the move might be coming up very soon onto the curb as further back Thibaut Ramicus is trying to stay within the contact of Andy Cansani. Here they come again, and the gap is extended to 7/10 of a second. Alexander Bondarev really on a good cushion of tenths of a second now. All he needs to do is to keep controlling that race and hoping for the battle to keep on playing out between Werrell and Kraling.
Let's see what happens now, because like we're saying, well, it's not going the way here of the man who was leading this one. I mean, Ramicus needs to sort this one out. He needs to gain back these positions.
And we've seen just Kian Fardin getting ahead of Matthias Werrell for P8. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's fine. That was the move there that really started the rattling of Thibaut Ramicus, dropping down to P4. Werrell getting through and Arjen Kraling getting through. There's the move again from another angle, and nothing more heartbreaking for the young Belgian driver, trying to close that gap again. There was the moves later down the field as again it's just losing more and more positions. Thibaut Ramicus certainly on the back foot in this one, currently sitting now in P5 behind Andy Cansani. There you can see them at the back of this train. They are starting to close in now once again on Lewis Werrell, who is losing touch with Alexander Bondarev. Werrell here, who wants a good one, as down the inside there goes Andy Cansani. Ramicus goes through as well. Now Arjen Kraling dropping down 2 positions. This is what Ramicus needs to do now. He needs to claw back these positions, because remember, if Bondarev can jump him in the points, it would certainly help Bondarev out going into the final.
Yeah, they're currently split by 5 points in the overall intermediate classification. Still to the advantage of Thibaut Ramicus. Is going to increase that gap just a tiny bit as they come across. Now back to 9 points between Ramicus and Bondarev. So as for now, if Thibaut Ramicus stays where he is, well, he will be starting from pole position for this afternoon's final and get, as you said, the 25 points in the championship. Always easier said than done. But Bondarev is the man on a mission, taking the win with propels him on the front row of the grid alongside Thibaut Ramicus. Can you imagine that finale? Let's run inside the 2:49 of Kian Fardin by the look of it. Yes, indeed, Kian Fardin was making his way up to P7, getting ahead of Noah Montero, I think. Yes, indeed, confirmation on your screen. As we still have so many protagonists who can make the switch for position. Unlike Alexander Bondarev, 1 full second for the Ukrainian driver in the lead. Werrell, Cansani, Thibaut Ramicus, watch out for the Belgian driver. Is very fast at the end of that start-finish straight. Second trail of drivers, so many of them behind the young Belgian. As we have Costoya, Kraling, Fardin, Montero, Niklas Schaffler, Tim Saleh in the top 10. And there goes Thibaut Ramicus on the inside of Andy Cansani in the on the curb of turn number 5. Well done by Ramicus up into P3. And the charge has certainly been launched. Roman Kaviab, in the meantime, the British driver, the fastest in this race, as he lost his climbing position, up to P13.
This is a driver dedicated to become the European champion in OKJ in 2023. He is fighting back through this field now. Werrell is his next target. If he can get back up into second place, it would certainly help out his chances of starting on pole for the final later on and going for the 25 championship points. And he drove past him like Werrell was standing still. Werrell, with no top-end speed down that start-finish straight, just got completely overtaken by Thibaut Ramekers without any competition whatsoever. And Werrell is under pressure now from Consani. I think there might be an issue with that kart.
Yeah, it looks like Thibaut Ramekers activated the DRS on that one because he was so fast at the top end of that straight. As further back, Christian Costoia on Andy Consani by the look of it. Or maybe was it Aaron Crowley, my apologies, on Christian Costoia, making his way up to P4 as the battle keeps on going up plenty. But Thibaut Ramekers, impressive pace by the young Belgian, who's been lapping 49.6 to a 49.9 for Lewis Werrell. And now you understand how he was able to launch that move even before the turn number one. And yes,
look at that. Yeah, he's got a problem.
There's
that kart's not got any top end speed whatsoever, and the whole field's just driving past him. This is a dangerous moment now for Werrell because he's going to have a whole pack backed up behind him, and he wants to get this kart to the end because he's near the end of this race. Look at them. They're just bumping into the back of him. Consani, Costoia wanting to get through but just not able to do it. Krayling's there, and now they've gone through. They've just pushed him out the way now because look at him. He's a rolling roadblock and he pulls it into the pit lane. His race is over.
Oh, such a disaster for Lewis Werrell after such a strong season. He was P3 overall, and that would have been a perfect position start for Lewis Werrell back into the pit after what seems to be a mechanical trouble for young Lewis Werrell. Such a disappointing end to his race, premature end coming to the final. Of course, he will be eager to fight back into the last race of the weekend, but in the championship, of course, in that category, Lewis Werrell has been one of the top drivers out there fighting all throughout the season. It's been an absolute joy to see him fighting at the forefront, but this is certainly not what he had been expected. But let's see what he can achieve this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. Well, the race goes on. Bondarev leads now by 1.2 seconds as Zhang Jose sets the fastest lap of the race. The driver for Ricky Flynn and off the track. Oh, and it's Nicolas Schaufler again and Kian Farden. Oh, no, they've collided again at the same corner they collided at only yesterday. Both of them off the track. I think Farden's out of the race. I think Nicolas Schaufler got to get going again. But both of them out of this race once more.
Incredible turn of event here as we have one of the protagonists having to back out of this race just after Lewis Werrell. Crowling and Nicolas Schaufler dropping a little bit, and Schaufler dropping out of this race. But this is a superheat pressure eating up Lewis Werrell, who retired of this race. He took his best result in the back in Czech Republic with a second place. He had been consistent all throughout the season. That's really going to hurt his ambitions for a podium result into the final. We're not there yet. Let's keep the fingers crossed. As in the meantime, let's see what happened back. This is on the inside. Nicolas Schaufler clipping the curve. Oh, it just went onto the back, unfortunately, of the 249 of Vivek. It wasn't Vivek Kahan. It was indeed Aaron Crowling, wasn't it? Who was caught up in that incident.
Well, talk about redemption there for Nicolas Schaufler. Obviously non-intentional through there, just a mistake.
But it was Kian Farden, wasn't it? Sorry,
yeah, it was Kian Farden.
Correction to myself, Kian Farden, apologies, who retired as well as a result of that contact because in the meantime, one of his teammates from Czech Republic, Aaron Crowley, is still very much in this race. In P6, you can see it.
Yes. Final lap board has been out then, and well, first and second in the championship currently, first and second in this race, and Bondarev has done exactly what he needs to do to help defend his championship lead. It will go down to the final then for these two in the championship, but across the line, Bondarev will take the win from Thibaut Ramekers. Ramekers would take the 25 championship points if, of course, as well, the second B Superheat goes their way. They are looking good. But Thibaut Ramekers now leads the intermediate classifications from Alexander Bondarev, from Christian Costoia and Consani. But your race winner in this one, Alexander Bondarev, showing Ramekers that he has got the pace today and he is a force to be reckoned with. I'll see you in the final later on today. Ramekers finishes second from Consani. Costoia finishes in P4 from Tame Soleil. Arjun Kraling finishes 6th from Noah Montero, Filippo Sala and Mateus Orjuela. Vivek Kantham rounds out the top 10 as the drivers make their way back into Parc Ferme. There is Alexander Bonarev on the scales, gets the thumbs up. You're all good. You've passed the first test of scrutineering. The second test comes up a bit later on. Remember, there has been a sea of nose cone penalties that have come in throughout the course of the day. The biggest, at least of that one, I've got to say, it probably went to Magic Gladys over the course of yesterday. He won on track. But unfortunately, he got a nose cone at the end of that one. So again, it can plague the drivers. And as you can see, they're bumping and barging into towards the pit lane. They can get one before they've even after the race. Well, there's a look then at the provisional classifications at the end of Superheat A for OK Junior. Tiziano Monza, Zhang Jose, and Castellini, Aksoy, Aguma, Kelliot, Peldis, and Bergesen. This a look at the highlights and certainly an action-packed Superheat A for OK Junior. It was a championship fight between our two drivers, but all the way throughout this race, there were overtakes left, right, and centre as there Filippo Sala trying to get down the inside of Kian Fardin. That would end in tears later on. Bondarev would take the lead from Ramikas, and Ramikas would go all the way down into P4 as Werrell and Arjun Kraling would get through into second and third. It would be disaster later on for Werrell, though, as his kart would slowly start to fade away from underneath him, and he would have to retire and pull it into the pit lane. But between now and then, there was still action as, again, down the inside there, it was a shaky moment for Thibaut Ramikas in this race. He certainly had to find his way back through the field to try and gain those positions. He certainly got help from Andy Consani. This was the moment then where we saw the close battle between Noah Montero, Kieran Fardin and Nicholas Schaufler. That would later end in tears as Ramikas would then get past Andy Consani and would then get past Lewis Werrell on the straight, and there was the first time we saw that the pace had just absolutely fallen away from Lewis Werrell, and he would now pull into the pit lane as the rest of the field just tried to get past him through this race. It would certainly end in tears there for him. We'll see him back out later today in the final, but somewhat further down the field. This was the dramatic moment there where Schaufler just drives under the rear bumper of Kian Fardin. Fardin out of the race, Schaufler continuing, and you may think to yourself that was that a little bit of redemption of what happened yesterday when Fardin went down the inside of Schaufler and took each other out, but I'm sure the two will have a quick talk at the end of this race. Checker flag would go out though, and Alexander Bondarev would take the race win from Thibaut Ramikas. The two championship protagonists going into the final.
Thank you, Anthony. Live from Parc Ferme with Alexander Bondarev, the winner of the first of the two superheat in the junior class. Alexander, well done to you. That was an impressive recovery and pace. The job is done, starting from a little bit further back onto the grid, second row up to the lead. The first part of the job is done.
Yeah, the race was nice. I managed to get into P1 from lap 2, I think, and then just had to control the pace. Thibaut tried to catch me a bit at the end, but I think we have a really good chance for the final, and yeah, I'll try to win.
So one more race to go, the most important of them all. In terms of points, you and Thibaut for the championship are still close, but what will be the strategy, you think? Pushing for the absolute lead or controlling like you did?
I think that we will try to win the final, but of course the most important thing in this point championship. So I'll not go for any crazy moves or anything. I'll just try to stay up the front to get a title.
Fantastic words. Thank you very much, and good luck to you, Alexander Bondarev, this afternoon. Let's see if we can talk to the other protagonists in this final, Thibaut Ramikas. Let's see if Thibaut can join us quickly. We're operating live, ladies and gents, from the Parc Ferme, but let's try to talk to the young Belgian driver who finished this race in P2 after dropping a couple of positions.